Hello guys, and what is up? It is Striker here, and welcome to Phasmophobia. I'm going to be doing a zero evidence playthrough while I talk about the new update, the future of the game going forward, my thoughts. Do I think the update is bad? Do I think the update is good? What is good about the update? What is bad about the update? Etc. etc. Just basically a full package. So yeah, and it's going to be a slow burn contract as well, so that you guys can mark out guess along with me. So yeah, hopefully we don't get anything too easy. Hopefully we don't get anything too hard and difficult either. Like I would hate to get like a mare that just does nothing mare related, for example, like how it usually does. Um, so yeah, talking about the first thing, the player character update. There are 12 models to choose from. You cannot mix and match hairstyles. It is extremely bare bones. There was like 4 jackets prior to the Alan Wake update. Now there are like 6. There's just not a lot of customization options here. There are some accessories, which is cool, but in general, it is a very, very bare bones, not to mention very buggy player character like creation system. You can sometimes end up with situations where you'll pick one model and then pick another model, and for some reason the model you just picked will have the hairstyle of the other model, and you cannot fix that unless you leave the game or close the application. And that is fairly annoying, and hopefully they can fix that. I'm sure they will, but that has been an ongoing issue since before the Alan Wake event, and it seems like it still happens. So yeah, player character customization, not so great. However, on the other hand, I actually really like the new badge customization. Now you can have your ID card and your 2 badges separate from each other, because normally you would have your ID card would reflect one of your 2 badges. Now that is no longer the case. So I can have my completionist badge with my apocalypse trophy, my completionist ID card with my apocalypse badge and my prestige badge, which is really nice. So yeah, um, getting right into the veins, we're going to play on Willow. Willow is my favorite map of the game, and I cannot wait to see how they rework it. So now we get into the second part of the update. First of all, we have David Jackson, that is a Melios, so we can go ahead and mark out Banshee and Dion. So, second part of the update, custom animations and stuff that they have made, basically new ones and stuff like that. Um, it's kind of I'm not gonna say it's the worst thing I've ever seen, and they did improve some things from the previous update to the Alan Wake update, but it's rough. All right, I'm just gonna say it right now, it's rough. Um, it can be very buggy and unresponsive at times. If I'm like holding the thermometer, for example, I drop it, it turns off. If I like place salt and I drop the salt canister as I place in the salt, it'll drop 2 salts, which just is a waste. Especially if you have like the tier 1 salt that you just place both salts in one spot, and that is not something you want to do with a tier 1 salt. Um, so yeah, it's just it's a little buggy. A little buggy and unresponsive. On top of that, before this update, some things were really far out on the screen, like the tier 1 thermometer, for example. Things have been moved closer to the screen, but in general, I feel like some things might be a little bit too close to the screen. I think that the EMF detector, this is like what I like. I like how close the EMF is to the screen without being like, it's still fully in view. I love this EMF detector. Like, this is what I kind of want you know, the other things that you hold to be like, right? If I hold this dots projector, it's really big and close to the screen. It doesn't need to be this close to the screen. Book, like, this is fine. You could probably zoom it out just a little bit more. Spirit bots, you can zoom it out a little bit more. Like, there are some things you don't necessarily need to see. Like, video camera, I know why they moved this over. It absolutely had to be moved over. Um, but yeah, like it needs some fine tuning, right? I'm trying to look at this in a more objective light. I think people who are like, "Oh, this is like absolute dog shit," and then they don't say why it's dog shit. They're just like, "This is dog shit, and I hate it." Opinions like that should just be discarded because they're not doing anything helpful for the game. They're not constructive. They're not pointing the devs in the right direction. They're basically just hating for the sake of hating. And opinions like that should not be taken seriously, in my opinion, because it's just people that are, again, they're just they're not criticizing anything. They're just being hateful. So, um, obviously, you don't want to listen to criticisms like that. You listen to the constructive criticisms, like what's actually wrong with the game, for example. That's what you need to listen to. So anyways, enough talking. Let's go ahead and move on. Um, there are some animations and stuff that I really do like, though. Like the lighter, for example. I do love the Tier 3 lighter. I do wish some animations were a little bit more responsive, and a little bit quicker. But other than that, I think I can get used to it. Also, some names have like new sound effects and stuff as well. This is another reason why I say some names are too zoomed in, by the way. As you can see, like whenever I'm using the Tier 3 headgear, the Tier 3 headgear, in case you don't know, it decreases your FOV. And as you can see now, as a result, by the way, the ghost seems to be in the kitchen, which it just threw that. Let's go ahead and take a video of that. So the Tier 3 headgear decreases your FOV, which makes things even closer to the screen. So that's why I say they can either be adjusted a little bit more to be off the edge of the screen, or they can be zoomed out just a tiny bit more, as long as they're still readable and viewable. But yeah, that's just me. I kind of liked, before how the spirit box was like in full view. I did like that. So yeah. Oh, let's turn this off. We do not want to scare away a potential mare, even though oh well, I guess it's not a mare actually. It turned on this light. That is actually a blessing that this ghost turned on this light, because now we can mark out one of the hardest ghosts in the game. Also, we can likely mark out Shade. I'll come back to that idea later, but it seemed to have no issue with doing interactions while I was in the room. Now, it could have just, like, moved a little bit away from the room and then did something, but to me, at least, it seemed like it had no issues. So on Zero Evidence, I usually bring in video camera, thermometer, and EMF detector. This is just the usual equipment that I bring to track the ghost and to roll out Mimic early. Speaking of which, let's actually do that. This ghost is being very throwy, however, which leads me to think it could be a poltergeist, but I haven't seen anything too crazy yet. Once I see something too crazy, I'll confirm that. But poltergeists do like to throw a lot, and I'm not seeing any ghost orbs. So while we're at it, let's go ahead and grab the bone. Let's go ahead and go get a picture of the summoning circle. But yeah, how you guys doing? Do you guys like the update? I'm gonna assume not. Most people don't seem to like the updates. There's been a lot of bugs, a lot of crashes, a lot of, just in general, the game really needs fixing. And I think that the devs will eventually find their footing. This isn't like some small company. This is it is kind of a small company. It's 40 developers. It's not like huge. It's a great size though for an indie studio. And on top of that, they've made so much money that they have more than enough money to, spend on the game and make it better. As long as they're willing to do so, of course. And it is a pretty high-selling game. It's still played pretty widely today as like a comfort game, for example. So I imagine people, I imagine that kinetic games will bounce back. We know that the ghost is not a gen now, by the way. And you know how I said before, the mare is a really hard ghost on Zero Evidence. I do think that the mare is the single hardest ghost to guess on Zero Evidence, even more so than Goryo. Because the mare is just very inconsistent with its behavior. At least Goryo, it just never leaves its room. Or if it does a ghost event, it just returns to its room, so you're like, okay, it's probably a potential Goryo. Mare can just straight up avoid doing literally anything. Your tell for a mare is doesn't turn on a light, and that might as well be it. Like, you're not gonna get, like, you're not gonna go out of your way to farm for, like, a light flip-off and be like, oh, it's a mare, and then you, like, guess mare, and it's, like, a banshee that just followed you and did that, or stuff like that. So, I personally think mare is the hardest ghost in the game. Like, just genuinely. You're not gonna turn on a light and then the ghost roams away, and it was like, you think, oh, okay, it must be a mare because it's afraid of light. No, it's 9 times out of 10, it's just, that's not how it's gonna work. Oh, we get a picture of dirty water? Dude, that makes our life so much easier. Alright, let's go ahead and place this. See, I even tried waiting, like, on purpose. I know it's not a wraith. We need to step in this salt over here if we want to guess if it's a Gaia or not. Okay, it's not a Gaia either. Alright, let's go ahead and put this down. What's our sanity? Our sanity is about 75. So we're pushing Demon Threshold and actually Cormos Threshold. So in case you guys don't know, if you're sprinting near the ghost, it can hunt at potentially 70% sanity. So you gotta be careful about that. Let's go ahead and bring in 3 lanterns, roll out potential Onryo. Is that it? Does that seem to be an Onryo? Okay, we've got a challenge on our hands. Alright, so we don't need any more sound recordings. We're going to set this right here because this is going to be our looping spot. How many more videos do we need? Sorry. We need one more video as well, so we will do a video of the hunting ghost. And we need 2 more photos. So a photo of... Do we need a photo of an EMF reading? We do not. We need a photo of the ghost. And do we need parabolic? I didn't check. We do not need parabolic. Alright, so let's go ahead and mark out Onryo. Everything else, as far as I know, is still on the table. Oh, why'd you leave the keys up on the table? Am I just stupid, or did it turn off this light over here? Did it move into the living room? No? Okay. Alright, we want to go and lower our sanity a little bit. Just a little bit at a time. Let's see where we're at now. There. It's in the garage. Sounds normal. Doesn't seem to be a yokai. Oh, it's an obake. Wow, ghosts really do take forever to level up now, or to speed up now, huh? Alright, so we know what the ghost is. Now we just need to take a picture of it. We also need to potentially get a picture of a burnt crucifix if we can. Oh, hello. Can it be a mimic? Surely not. Why did that come in here? Oh, it must have just changed rooms to in here. Okay. Sure, just take my looping spot, why don't you? David Jackson. Get a photo of the ghost. We actually don't want this on. We'll use our what's it called? Our video camera. I didn't have my photo camera on me, that's so annoying. Cool. Alright, we need the ghost to come in here now. Sorry if things are not going super fast right now. This is usually how it be when you're trying to go for a perfect game, and you're trying to be careful as well. I also wouldn't consider myself to be like the best whenever it comes to like managing, you know, things either. Like, I have like about 800 hours or so, but I mean, it's not like it really matters. I wouldn't say that my flexibility at doing tasks is like super great. There we go. Nice. That's a perfect game. So, as you can see, unique, 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 5 unique, 5 unique, and we need to repel... okay. We need to repel the ghost using an instance. I forgot to do that. I was too good at the game, apparently. I honestly like. Oh, I got stuck for a second. What do you guys think about the new like ghost change as far as like line of sight movement speed increases concerned? Because I actually kind of like it because it kind of makes it to where a lot more looping spots are going to be viable for longer before you're going to have to like smush the ghost and like move away, which means more basically means more you know, opportunities to view the ghost and stuff, which is overall healthier for the game, in my opinion. Um, I think it's like what 25 seconds now for Matt's LOS speed, where it was like 13 before. Uh, so yeah, that's a perfect game on Zero Evidence.